Don't know a lot about beauty and women's faces. We don't wake up like this.
Hi everyone. So today I am working with this beautiful lady here. I got her beauty services done. She looks beautiful, ready for the red carpet. Look at her.
I did not look beautiful when I walked in here. It's on her. It's on her.
Today's episode is brought to you by Promescent. Use the code in our description to automatically get 15% off at checkout.
What if there was just one supplement that helped you here, and yes, even here? Say hello to VitaFlux powder for men. This natural blend has 3 key amino acids like L-arginine, L-citrulline, and L-carnitine. With just a scoop in the morning and 1 scoop in the evening, VitaFlux helps to increase testosterone levels, improve recovery times from injury and exhaustion, and increase libido, giving you energy in any activity you engage in. Did we mention it comes with delicious flavors like mint mojito? So what are you waiting for? Get back to your prime. Shop VitaFlux powder for men today.
You're watching ASN Underground with Sam Mack. That's me, and I bring on the most wild and wonderful people I know to talk about some of the most interesting careers, hobbies, activities, and lifestyles here in North America. Today, specifically, we are focused on bald men. There's plenty of them. We love them. Sometimes you don't even know that a fellow looks like Mr. Clean until weeks into a Tinder date relationship when he finally removes his hat. Some men are very insecure about this. So we scoured the internet to find a beautiful woman who's tending to the bald men of America with tattoos. Please welcome to our couch, Boujee Beauty. Come to me, darling, come to me. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
So, you do a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
She is a cosmetic tattoo artist, responsible for my eyelashes, my eyebrows. She did not tattoo my eyelashes. I'm sorry. Tattooed my eyebrows. She fixed them, made them look amazing. She also does eyelashes.
Yes.
Not these ones, but you did give me my Christmas eyelashes.
Those were really cute.
And listen, I cried a lot throughout the holidays. It's an emotional time of year. And those eyelashes did not budge.
They were
2 weeks later, they were still flawless.
We're on day 12 of these eyelashes. They go in the shower. I sleep on my face. These are stunning.
If you guys don't know a lot about beauty and women's faces, we don't wake up like this. But you can now, thanks to Boujee Beauty. So you tattoo eyebrows, you tattoo lips, but women already know what women can do to enhance the womanhood.
Yes.
We want to talk about men, bald men, patchy beards. Because sometimes guys don't necessarily know their hair is thinning, and sometimes they're just living in denial, and it's truly a crippling insecurity for some fellows.
Definitely.
Some men don't know that we kind of like it. It's all smooth and slippery. It's kind of nice to wrap your hand on.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not about what we like. It's about making the men in our lives confident, feeling as sexy as we think they are.
Oh, yes.
And as we know from wearing the Spanx and the push-up bras and the hair pieces and the nails and the heels and the makeup, sometimes you need a little oomph to help you feel your best. Men are often overlooked in this field, and that's why Boujee Beauty stabs their heads repeatedly with needles,
Yes.
tattoos
indeed.
them cosmetically to make them look like hair. Tell me all about how you got into this,
Yeah.
how it's been transformative for the men in your life, and where people can contact you.
Yes. So I already started with permanent makeup, and because I'm already in the industry, it was so much easier to transition to not only being able to provide services to all the girls, but there's men out there who, for example, one of my friends, he reached out and he's like, Boujee, is there any way that with permanent makeup you can help me with my beard? Because some men grow beards, however, it's patchy. So he's like, is there any way, is there something out there that you could help me fix my beard. I know hair transplants can be really expensive. A lot of people, either they don't know about it or we can't just afford it. And I was like, you know what, let me look into it. So then I did my research. I took a class from a teacher in Florida. And from there, I started practicing. And little by little, the thing is to replicate hair follicles. So I go in there, I fix their beard, I do their lineups, and then I start doing tiny little dots. With those little dots, it looks like hair follicles. You can't even see they're there.
So
And
we've all
it's
seen
amazing.
the TikTok videos where they have the cardboard and the spray paint to make that harsh line on their face.
Yes.
I'm sure that's what our viewers are imagining right now. So I think we have a photo
Yes, we do.
of a fellow's beard, or I'm looking cautiously at our producer. Here we go.
Yes.
Here's the photo of our fellow's beard. You can watch it on the monitor. We have it up here on the big screen.
Yes.
What his beard looked like coming in and what you did to it.
Yes.
Can you kind of explain what's going on here?
Definitely. So when you can see in that picture, the little patches, he has no hair there. It just doesn't grow. So what I did was
How old
we
is
have
he?
a white pencil. He's 25.
Okay, so he's been growing this beard for a while.
Yes, a long time. And he's just like, you know what, Boujee, it doesn't grow. These are the sections where it's not growing and I can't afford a hair transplant. So what we did is we grab a white pencil and we shape where the beard lineup should be. And then from there, anything down is where I start replicating hair follicles. So then I go in there, I slowly start tattooing, and then that's pretty much what the end result will be. From there, you will need to come back for a touch-up, at least 2-3 more sessions to get it to look fuller. And then they're good to go from there.
So the type of ink that you're using, will it fade over time? Does it come in different hair colors?
So the ink I use is called Follicle. It's very different from permanent makeup. The inks are diluted according to the person's hair color. So we have to dilute it to match it. It will get a little lighter over time, but you have to follow the proper aftercare in order to maintain the color as well.
And so what is the proper aftercare for a treatment like this? We have lots of oils in our faces. Would that push the ink out for sweating in the gym?
Yes. So, for example, let's say you come in, you have your beard done. The next day, there's no going out to the beach, having the sun out there. You can't be sweating. You can't go to a sauna. That would just open up the skin, and the retention of the pigment will be definitely lost. And then we also provide like a balm, a certain oil, a wash, and that would help it too.
This is amazing. How many men have been interested in getting this done since you first posted it?
A lot. So many, especially people that don't grow hair like bald men. There's areas that it's like, oh my gosh, there's a scar in the back. It's bothering me. I need it covered. And then that's where I go in. And just to see the satisfaction that, oh my gosh, I have
Here
hair
we
now.
have, what is this part of the head called? This
The
is
crown, like in
the
the
crown
very
of
top.
the head.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yes.
the crown is a little shinier than others.
Yes, so let me tell you, he actually didn't even know he had that until I took a picture. I was like, hey, let me show you something. And I showed him, and he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And then I was like, let me fix this for you. And I did it, and he was so happy. He feels so much more comfortable now. Now with that, his hair is short. He's like,
Yeah.
I feel great. So.
Because it's true. A lot of people don't see the back of their head. They don't know what
don't.
they look like from above or behind. And women, we know we get the 3 mirrors lined up all right. We can see all angles. It's quite often. Women's
Exactly.
changing rooms often have all the angled mirrors. Shout out to Target for having those really good mirrors.
Yes.
But men don't often go to the same effort as women. So it's possible that men do not know their hair is thinning.
Exactly. So as we get older, of course, our hair gets thinner and thinner. And then it's like, you know, we don't feel the same. We're not comfortable. But when there's a procedure out there that people didn't know about or didn't hear it, and now we have it, it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to run to it and say, I want to get started. I want my hair, fix this and that. And you'll see the satisfaction that these men have because now they have hair.
And they're more confident. They're
Exactly.
happier.
They walk out feeling bougie. That's
They
the whole
walk
goal.
out feeling bougie. This is why you go to Boujee Beauty.
Yes.
I love this.
Yes.
So one of the biggest things is, I mean, we talk about how women are, we do our hair, makeup, our outfits. We do so many things to make us feel wonderful when we walk out into the world. It's so taboo still in this day and age for men to take the same kind of care and concern in their appearance. So I think it's really amazing that you're showcasing this and that you've got brave clients who are willing to be shown in the before and afters.
Yes.
Because it is still a little bit uncomfortable for men to say, hey, I care about how I look. Men are supposed to be tough and strong and nothing's supposed to bother them, right?
Right.
Bottle up your feelings, be a man. But I love that you are opening the space with no judgment and being like, hey, if you want it, I got it.
Yes.
If you don't, no judgment. But if you want to feel better and this is going to work, I'll do it for you.
Right.
And encouraging men to like feel safe in that space, because it's quite vulnerable for them to be like, oh, I need help, right?
Yes, and it's very hard because a lot of men, they're very ego, and it's like, no, I don't want my picture there, or it makes me feel uncomfortable, and they hide it. But it's like, no, it's like, I can help you, I can take care of you. And once they see that and they feel that, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like you even want to tell all your friends and let everybody know that this was before and then you're after, completely different.
I mean, you were all over my my Instagram highlights, and you said, I can take care of you. And I was like, you know what? You do feel so taken care of. You come into this lovely little studio. You lie all the way down. You're well lit. It's super comfortable. And then you're just cuddling over top of their head, like going to work, getting nice and close and intimate. And you really do feel taken care of. You feel like, oh, like my fairy godmother is making everything better. Like it really is kind of a luxury experience. Speaking of luxury, though, it always leads to prices.
Correct.
How expensive is something like this? Something so transformative, what does it cost?
So the price really varies depending on the amount of coverage needed.
Okay.
For example, if someone's like, oh, what's your quote on, let's say, a crown? I can't tell you this is exactly an amount, but I could be like, oh, there's an estimate, let's say, between 1,000, 2,000. That's not the correct amount, but I have you come
It's a good
in.
ballpark.
We have a consultation, and then we talk what you will need and how much is it going to cost. And not only is it one session, it will be 2 to 3 sessions.
So they're always going to know before the tools hit their heads
Yes.
how much they're actually in for. It's never a
Yes.
point where like you sitting there doing all this work and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
by the way.
No. I talk to you beforehand. There's a consultation. We take pictures and we see what we can work with, and then we go from there.
So do you only do this in your studio?
I currently just in my studio. I do.
Let's say hypothetically, a very high-profile client who has money to spend wants you to come do it at their house. Could they hire you to set up shop in their house and do it very privately and discreetly for them?
They could definitely consider hiring me. However, due to regulations with city, it will really depend if it is an area that's completely safe and sanitized, that they would, allow me to do it there for them. However, most of the time I do have them come to my shop just because city and regulations, it's very, very sanitary, your area where you have to work. So I have to follow along with regulations.
And I have to admit, her studio is very discreet.
Yes.
I have had to show up at all hours of the day with no makeup on, and it is a very safe, discreet location.
Thank
so you can. She's got celebrities walking in and out that door. Girl, how have you seen a change in your both men and women clients?
I've definitely seen a lot of more men reaching out now that SMP is involved. Here, where we're from, you don't really see SMP because you don't hear about it.
SMP stands for?
Scalp micropigmentation, yes. So because we don't know procedures with hair, we don't hear about it. So my clientele was always more eyebrows, more permanent makeup, because of course all of us females, we love the makeup, we love the lashes and the glam. So now that I opened up another service, it's allowed me to expand more. to allow those people now reach out to feel more comfortable. It's like, okay, not only does she do beauty for women, but now it's for men too. So they feel great coming in, and I'm open to both. The same way I treat my girls is the same way I treat everybody else.
And you really feel like you are being taken care of. Like, you are so professional. We have so much fun. We know each other. We got the TikTok going on. I'm Instagram live streaming the whole time. But you make such a safe, comfortable environment. It really, really is a luxury experience. I think that for a man getting a hairline all of a sudden, or filling in the crown of his head, is very similar to a girl getting a boob job. Like, it changes how you hold yourself. It changes how the world sees you. It changes your confidence. It doesn't change how your clothes fit, but it changes how many hats you wear.
Exactly.
Now,
And that's
can
my
a guy get this procedure done and then put on a hat and go home?
They can definitely, for example, when they leave my studio after I've done their S&P work, yes, they can have their hat on, go home, and that's actually great. For example, if it's a hot, sunny day, you do not want to walk out in a hot, sunny day with sweat after a new procedure done on your scalp. You don't want to do that. You want to be away from the sun.
So what does it look like after? Is it similar to a tattoo where you're red, you're bleeding, you're swollen, you're tender? What is your scalp going to look like afterwards, or your beard going to look like afterwards?
So when you first finish a procedure, we have an aftercare where it takes the redness away. And that's just because you're tapping in the skin lightly. We don't go so deep into the skin where it's causing any bleeding, any skin damaging. You're not having that at all.
So even though we casually say that it's cosmetic tattooing, it's not actually the same as a tattoo.
Yes, with a tattoo, you're going really deep into the skin. However, here it's on the first layer of the skin, so you're generally just tapping, making tiny little dots. So it's not a hard procedure, there's no pain. Literally, I ask my guys, okay, from 1 to 10, what's the pain? They're like, about a 1 or a 2. So you can definitely feel it, but it's not uncomfortable.
Right.
Where you're like, oh my gosh, I need some numbing. There's no way. Now the skin in the beard and your scalp, completely different. In the beard, it stretches more. In your scalp, it's a lot thicker, so you don't feel it there as well. So it's very, very good.
I can absolutely guarantee that when she does your eyebrows, you feel nothing. You feel pressure, and I can hear it.
The machine.
But you don't feel it. It's so wild. We do use numbing creams.
Yes.
When I get my tattoos done on my body, I avoid using numbing creams because, I want to be tough. But whatever you put on my face is so magical. Like, we literally are laughing the whole time. I'm live streaming. We're talking with fans.
I know.
We answer the phone.
Questions.
We're at Boujee Beauty. I keep saying it backwards. Say hi. We're gonna get my eyebrows fixed. Are you ready for this? Oh boy. We'll just keep the hat on until it's fixed. Guys, I have eyebrows.
Yes, permanent makeup done by me. Come get your brows done and look like this beautiful lady.
We have so much fun. It really is such a non-threatening, very luxurious experience. You will have it's nothing to be nervous about. I really want to enforce that because this isn't something that the common man does. Mm-hmm. It is not scary.
No, it's not.
If you want to bring your wife to hold your hand, is that okay?
It definitely is.
Or your husband, or your friend, or your mom, whatever.
You know, I've actually had a client, she was like, you know what? I was so scared. Because you think of tattooing and you think about, oh my gosh, it's on my face, but they're like, you make my experience feel so smooth because you talk, you understand, you work with what I have, and it's like, they feel great, they're comfortable, and because you're feeling so comfortable, you're actually allowing the procedure to be smooth. So they don't have to worry, they're great.
So what is the minimum age requirement for somebody to receive this kind of procedure?
Definitely 18 and older. Mm-hmm. However, if they're under 18, then I do need their parents to approve that or whoever their guardian is.
Now let's talk about this. Now, I had my eyebrows done years ago, and they had faded to such a point where you didn't even know I had my eyebrows done anymore.
Yes.
Will the ink fade out? How frequently do we have to get things replenished? How does the body naturally push out the pigment, absorb the pigment? What happens there?
So for example, permanent makeup. For oily skin, we definitely always say a powder brow is always best. An ombre, a powder brow. Microblading is not good for oily skin. And so those are two brow types. My preference is powder brows. Why? It lasts longer. You could be 2 to 3 years, even longer, but it depends on your skin type and your aftercare. Also, a lot of people don't explain to you, okay, if you have oily skin, we definitely don't recommend this one and the reasons why. And I've seen women get it done and then it fades in like a month or not even a year. And that's because they didn't follow proper aftercare. They weren't told that according to their skin type, those are not the best route to go. And they get it done and then later they need a correction or they need something else done.
I think that's really true. Actually, speaking with women in our friend circle, we know people who have just gone to whoever's doing eyebrows, gotten whatever eyebrows put on, and the company just takes your money, gives you the service, and a month later you don't have a face. Well, you don't have a made-up face.
Yes.
And then you got to go back and spend more money. And so what I really love about you is your consultation process is thorough, and you really are giving your clients the best treatment to suit their needs.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, basically she comes in and she goes, you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like,
she doesn't say that.
Yes, I am like, okay, what is it that you like? Is this how you do your eyebrows? Okay, they always come in, they're like, this is how I want my brows, and they show me their phone, and I'm like, okay, I have to measure you according to your face structure. This is the brow that you can have. Now you can go thick or wide. Yes, and they're like, okay, but I'm used to doing it this way. I'm like, yes, because you don't know how to do your brows. But here I am, I sit down, I map you, and then they fall in love with that, and here you go.
It's true, it's true. And it's so, like, you look like, what's that meme where, like, the science board comes up and all the graphs are drawn on it? Your forehead ends up looking like that. Like, you got the graph charts and the lines and the numbers
You're like,
and the
oh
dots.
my gosh. Yeah.
No, when I went to my cosmetics doctor who does my fillers, which I don't have any right now, so please watch the show a whole bunch so we can get advertisers enough to pay for my filler. I showed him these lips and I said, these are so beautiful. Actually, I brought him a picture of my fiance's lips at the time, and I was like, I want my mouth to like match this when we kiss on our wedding day. Like, I need to match up.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, she has a long pointy nose, so those lips look amazing on her. On you, you're gonna look like Mr. Potato Head. And I was like, oh, I never thought like the rest of my head is part of my face. And he changed like how we shape my face and how we do these procedures. And he saved me from looking like a plastic child's toy, which is, I'm so grateful for, because you go in thinking you know things, or you've seen a filter on Instagram.
Yeah.
You want to look like that false image of you, not realizing what else goes into it. So being able to have these consultations and speak to professionals like you who do know all the aspects of it, they give you a really good experience and a good final product that you can be proud of. You never want to get a procedure and then have to like wrap your face up like the Invisible Man and go outside.
Yes, and it's like, I don't like to just be like, oh, okay, yes, I can do your eyebrows and not even talk to you, not even tell you, okay, this is what it's going to be. I've seen many people that just say, I'm going to do your brows and do whatever they want to do on their eyebrows. Doesn't matter even if it's a good shape or a bad shape. I don't. I like to take my time, and I've learned that over time, that everybody wants a certain eyebrow style. However, they do need to understand that it's according to your face structure. So it's like, you can't say, oh, I want to look like, let's say, I don't know, an artist. Her eyebrows, look at her. I'm like, yes, but look at her face structure. It's like, no arch, no arch. The length, it's longer, thinner. All that comes into consideration.
Now, one thing I do want to say is Boujee does not necessarily, even though she maps your face out, draw on the lines for you. If you have an iconic look, or if you're used to presenting yourself a certain way, you do let people draw on their own lines and show you exactly what they want, what they do. And you really work well with your clients to give them that final product they really feel comfortable with.
Right. Yes.
I imagine some men being like, a girl's gonna line me up.
That's, you know what? That's actually been something for me that I'm glad they trust me, in a sense of they see where the lineup is. They feel confident enough to allow me to work on them. And to me, that it's a big blessing. For example, my client who came in for the beard,
Right.
he's like, okay, I have like no line structure. I will shape it, and then they could tell me, okay, that's perfect. Or you know
Higher,
what,
lower,
a little higher.
deeper.
Yes, or can you work with this? This is how I do it. I'll have them do one side and I'll do the other. And then we'll compare and then come to a point where it's like, okay, my client's happy and I think this look is best. And then we go from there. I just don't say, I'm going to do this and that. It's my way and we're done. No. It's you want your clients to walk out feeling satisfied and then bougie overall. So
I love this. I love this so much.
thank you.
It is such a blessing to be so far advanced in the technology that we have these days and socially consistently advancing to a point where men's feelings can be catered to, because for generations the man has had to be the provider. He has to be tough, he has to be strong, he's not allowed to have feelings, he's not allowed to feel insecure, he's got to bottle all that up. And I just love that we're in an environment right now where it's like, you know what, guys, we want you to feel good. We want to make you happy. Like I said, a lot of men and women love bald heads, not an issue, right?
Yes.
I can name how many action heroes, how many bodybuilders, how many firefighter calendar models, like how many military men, like big, strong men usually have bald heads. Like it is usually something very, very sexy. But we've also seen the transition between the cue ball and the thinning hair, sometimes not so sexy. We associate the comb over with, the Poindexter, the nerds, and we're giving men this option to be like, you know what, you can hang on to your hair a little bit longer. Now, what happens when they tattoo the hair follicles and then the hair keeps going away? They end up cue ball bald. What's left on their head?
So, for example, if they're only covering a small section of their hair, then it wouldn't be like a big deal with time. Why? Because I've seen men cut it shorter and shorter, and it will blend in. So the shorter your hair is, the more it blends in as well. Let's say if you had a bald.
Because it looks like hair follicles. It looks like it should be there.
Yes. So for example, for women, I see, sometimes if they put their hair a certain way to the side, and then they don't like the side because, there's a bald spot, then I go in there, I do little tiny dots. Now, if they move their hair over, you won't be able to tell because there's so much hair around it. They do have to consider over time and really think about, if I were to, for example, shave all the beard off, they're gonna have the little tiny follicles, so they do have to remember and think about getting this procedure beforehand. Like, okay.
So let's hypothetically just talk. If you filled in this fellow's beard, right?
Yes.
He's approximately 25-ish years old. Let's say by the time he is 45, right? Let's say he wants to do that fully clean-shaven look. Will the ink have dissipated enough or aged over time enough that you won't even be able to tell and it'll look completely natural?
So, for example, the inks all end up getting lighter and lighter over time. So it depends on his skin, how well he retained it. It depends on if he followed proper aftercare. All that comes into consideration when taking care of your skin with SMP. So I know, for example, for tattoos, you can do face laser if you don't like a tattoo. So that could also be a consideration if over time you're like, I'm just gonna shave it all off. And as we age, of course, ink looks different on us, but every person holds ink differently. So it really depends on the person's skin and aftercare, everything like that.
Beautiful.
So, I would say.
I am so grateful that there are artists like yourself who are taking this unconventional step to care for men's beauty, men's self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because like I said, some people just love a bald head.
Yes.
I've never heard a woman complain about a man's patchy beard. Like, we complain about a lot of things to do with men. I've never heard a woman be like, his beard's too patchy. We talk about them having crappy jobs. We talk about guys having bad hygiene,
Exactly.
or like his teeth are gross.
But we never talk about the beard.
We've been like, I think he should shave his beard.
Yes,
Nobody's
or
ever
trim it.
actually cares. And having a thick, full beard right now is so
attractive.
popular.
Yes.
Oh, the whole lumber sexual vibe is taking over in the heterosexual community, in the homosexual community. Like, oh, we like them big and hairy.
It's a full hair, looks amazing.
Yes.
For the beard, I'm like fuller, it looks nice, it looks darker. And then we don't know how they feel. We know when their beard's so patchy, they won't tell us.
No.
They'll trim it. They're like, oh, we cut it short. Why? Because either could say, oh, it doesn't grow here,
And
it
I
doesn't
think
grow
that
there.
men are just used to doing whatever they've always done, and that's just the way it
Yes.
is. And they've just kind of come to terms with it. Like, this is what my face looks like.
Right.
You know?
Because they don't really know about beauty services that are there for them.
Yeah.
So this is a good option for them. Now they got to think about, oh, well, do I really want to tattoo my face? Do I really want to? But it's up to them, really. If they want a full beard, that's an option.
And here's the thing, you want your man to feel confident, and you know that, like, how he actually feels. And I remember at Christmas time, I was like, this would be a great present for one of my friends. Like, this would change his life.
Yes.
You know who is going to be offended and who's not going to be offended by this. And I think that it's such a wonderful gift that you can give somebody. Like, if somebody was like, hey, Sam, I'm going to get you, tattooed eyebrows for Christmas, I'd be like, that is so sweet, because it's, it is costly. It's not like going to the grocery store and picking up your favorite snack or birthday cake. Like, it is a cosmetic procedure.
Yes.
But I'm like, that's so thoughtful. Like, you're not saying that my face is ugly. You're not saying that my eyebrows are unattractive, but like, you're trying to give me something that I would truly enjoy. That's going to make me feel happier and more confident in myself. Like, that's truly, when you get gifts to get your eyelashes done, or your lips done.
Anything for free for us, it's hitting the
We
spot.
feel pampered.
Yes.
And you know what? Being able to make your man feel pampered as well is not something that we've always gifted men. We gift men, traditionally testosterone-fueled gifts.
Yes.
You get a gift certificate to the gun range, or we'll give you some new tires on your truck for you.
Manly
or
things.
We'll make you
Exactly.
some food. We'll have a barbecue. We'll get you a big screen TV, maybe a video game. But making a man feel confident, making him feel sexy, is, I think, such
Self-care.
it's such
mainly.
a love language. Being like,
Yes.
because a lot of women are insecure. Your man looks too good, you don't want him going outside.
Exactly. I've seen that too.
You love your man. You want him to look his best. You want him to
Yes.
feel his best. And you are confident in your man. You have no problem making sure his beard is in full spring. The hair looks
Yes.
good. He can get his eyebrows done too. We can shape it for men. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, so men can come in and get their brows threaded, shapen.
It frames the
Yes,
face.
definitely
The
does.
window shutters to the eyes, people.
So anything beauty, really. It's like brows. I've seen men do their brows too, but it's not as common as for us women. Just mainly the S&P now that I'm doing.
Just a spoiler alert, most of the men you've seen on this show have been in the makeup chair before they sit on the couch, and they get their eyebrows filled because it frames your face more beautifully on camera. And I'll bet you just watched 10 interviews and never thought, hey, those men are wearing makeup. But they are.
But they look amazing.
And so
full
maybe getting your
brows.
eyebrows touched up is going to give you that strength in your face that you want. You don't have to get some feminine arched eyebrows.
No, and honestly, brows make up your whole face structure.
Yeah.
I've learned that through time. Definitely does.
So the moral of the story is, I think if you really want to prove how much you love, trust your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, that Tinder date you just met, purchasing them a treatment like this that makes them feel strong, sexy, confident, empowered is the greatest symbol of your trust and your faith in that person. Because when you help the person you're with look sexier in this world where everybody's out to get a piece, you are showing how much you truly love and trust that person to be their best image of themselves out in public when you can't control the situation. I just think like that is a boss move. Like as a woman, if I get my husband or my wife, my whatever, I'm
both
going
wanna
to
look
get you that
good.
treatment that makes you feel so sexy, and you're going to put that sexy energy out there. I must trust you so much.
Yes.
So, women, get your man a beard treatment. Get the crown of his head touched up. Show him how much you love him, how much you trust him, how much you support him and want him to feel good. Don't just buy him another video game. Get him something that is going to change how he feels about himself. Makes him wake up every day feeling like the sexy man you treat him like every single moment. And where can they find you?
They can follow me at Boujee Beauty. Also, I am in Oxnard, so they can also have my phone number. It's on my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. I will have all my information on there on my website. You can find the consultation times, address, phone numbers, everything you need will be on there. So.
And if you need to be discreet, she can make arrangements so no one will ever know you're a secret and we'll all think you've always had a full head of hair. Or perfect eyebrows. Or tattooed lips. We didn't even talk about lips.
Oh,
By the way, I
know.
want to schedule my lips.
Everything. Tattoo everything.
Thank you for watching ASN Underground. We're going to give you all the inside information on how you can be your sexiest self too.
Yeah.
You're watching ASN Underground.
I'm not saying I'm a bad lover, but sometimes I was the only one crossing the finish line.
Sometimes.
But the first time I tried promescent delay spray, wow.
Wow.
Just a few sprays and I could focus more on the intimacy and not be worried about finishing too soon. Now I'm not just running a sprint. We're both signed up for a marathon together.
And he lets me cross the finish line first.
Anything for you, milady?
No accents.
Right, I mean, right.
I'm back.
Don't be fooled by her double D's. This woman's here to talk all about the D exquisitely because of her PhD. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to answer all your deepest, darkest questions with Dr. Stephanie. So today's subject is something that a lot of people don't know about, but has come up many, many times because people don't talk about it. Yeah. So we're talking about adult circumcision and why men might need it. More specifically, phimosis. Dr. Stephanie, please tell us, 5 minutes on the clock, all about phimosis.
Oh, wow. So phimosis is a disorder for the penis. I wouldn't call it necessarily, it's a malfunction. It's a formational issue where the foreskin grows over the gland of the penis. And if it's not properly massaged or exercised or conditioned, yes, it's not going to open up and it will stick. And there's a lot of reasons why that happens.
Until it rips.
And then that's the most painful. Can you imagine ripping?
I've seen it.
Oh,
I've been there.
I can't. And it is a very common problem, but it's usually because there's 3 reasons. Number 1, born that way. Number 2, hygiene. Are they properly cleaning? And number 3, are they using it enough to stretch the skin out? And so most people who have this aren't doing one of the 3. So it is definitely a situation that can be very painful if not corrected.
So in the adult industry, we've seen a lot of people who feel like, they're an adult, this is an activity they like to do, they want to be a career professional porn star. And this is where I learned about phimosis, is the amount of people that drop trowel are ready to go into the game, and you're like, oh, but we can't.
What's
we
going
can't
on with that?
retract it. We can't touch it. We can't thrust it. If we do touch the head, it's so sensitive because it's never been exposed before.
It is very sensitive.
And so I had to learn trial by fire as a director and as a producer and as an actress that there are many different sizes, and shapes, and conditions, and this is one that came up over and over and over again.
Yes.
And I got thrust into the position of becoming an educator.
An educator for it.
I was woman-splaining dicks to men.
Yes.
So my experience is limited to those experiences and what doctors will be able to tell me that I can move forward. But what can we tell guys how to look for it? How can they tell if they have it? And what can they do about it?
Masturbation is key. I will say that. It's not bad. Masturbation is great. And what that does is it releases that skin, and it's going to stretch that skin out and make it more malleable and more easier to come around the glands, right? That's the number 1 thing. Also, look for if it's fused together, the head of your penis might be very swollen, it might be very tender. So if you start to pull down the foreskin and it's crusted, don't force that foreskin down. You can tear the skin. It's very painful. I can't even imagine the pain that would cause to just rip that down. And so there are different ways that you can handle that. There are steroid creams that you can use, and that will help release that skin and help bring that down. There are masturbation techniques that you can use. If you need surgery, you can also have a laser surgery that will help remove some of that. You can go in to have circumcision. Yeah,
In
laser
the cases
surgery.
I have known about personally, laser was never an option, which seems like a much less invasive
It is
version
very snipping it, yes. So the laser is going to help release that, and it's going to help, well, it'll help release that skin, but also it's not snipping and tearing. We're not having to do the stitches, and it's a better healing process. But it definitely is an option.
Wow. So a lot of the problems that we came into is gentlemen who grew up very, very religious, and we're told, don't touch it. That's your manhood. It's not for now. It's for later in your life. And then later in their life happened, and they don't have the same abilities as the majority of men. I don't want to say should or shouldn't, but
Yes.
it really is debilitating for a lot of these guys.
It's embarrassing.
I think one of the first, personal story, one of the first experience I had my hand like so.
Okay.
Like so.
Okay, just
Holding it like so, right? My thumb is here.
Yeah.
But by the time, because you're talking, you're touching, and then I looked down, and I thought he had a prosthetic penis. I thought maybe he was trans, maybe it was like a toy that he bought, he was packing.
Sure.
Because when I looked down, the skin was completely over the top. I didn't realize my thumb was over the opening. And I looked down, and I was like, oh, we can work with this. And I didn't know what to say or do. And he's like, why? Because I still have foreskin? And I was like, where? Because the skin was so taut over the whole top. But his whole life, that was normal for him. And it was very normal for him to masturbate in such a way and then just like hold the opening shut and then go and dump in the bathroom afterwards.
And that's very common. But however, what happens is that's unhygienic. What are you not being able to get out of that foreskin? And so that crust that builds up over time will start to
Calcify?
not necessarily calcified, but it will definitely build up, and it definitely hardens and causes so much more pain and distress.
Well, and I guess it kind of acts like a scab.
It is a scab.
I'm so sorry we're talking about dicks and scabs right now, guys.
But
It's real though, it happens.
It is, and this education is not taught in school.
No, and a lot of times in like heterosexual relationships, a woman who has no experience all of a sudden is looking at this thing and has to evaluate like, is this normal? Is it not normal? Is this safe? Is it not safe? What do I do? How do I react? How do I not embarrass this fellow? Or should I be like, you should see a doctor? Like, it puts, this lack of education puts us all in awkward situations.
Yes, it does.
Luckily, at that point in my life, I was well versed in the industry at that point, and so I was like, I can work with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give me a cactus, I'd be like, I'll figure it out. But
I mean, you're a professional. Yeah. But those who
very
are
open-minded.
And those who aren't professional will look at that and be either scared of it, they will sometimes shame their partner and guilt their partner, and that's not what we're wanting to do. If it is very pervasive and it is very closed off, you might need to go seek medical attention, and that's okay. There's no shame in that. But if you don't need medical attention and you can work it down, massage it, use some steroid creams, masturbate.
I usually tell people it's like when you see people stretch their earlobes, it's just that consistent over time stretching.
Yes.
Your earlobe goes from being completely closed to completely open.
Absolutely.
Same thing can happen with the foreskin. It's very stretchy. It's very resilient.
It's a tissue that will mold into whatever it needs to be. It just has to be used, and it has to be formed.
Mine is all just based on like what I've seen and how I've lived. This is why I bring on Dr. Stephanie, because she knows the actual medical reasons, who, the how, the where, the whys, and the when. So if you have any questions, you can just reach out to us here at ASNUndergroundshow.com. Just ask for Dr. Stephanie.
You're watching ASN Underground.